Hello, Chamber faithful. Welcome to Advocacy in Action. This is the Chamber's newest program, a virtual series that will allow you to understand what we're doing on your behalf with the Idaho legislature and other policymakers around the state. We are very grateful to Holly Troxel for being our first episode sponsor. Holly Troxel provides clients with the most sophisticated legal services in Idaho by using a creative and entrepreneurial approach designed to get results. At their core, they understand what it means to provide professional service to clients. Their collective experience lets them provide solutions to the challenges of doing business from formation to exit. Whether one-on-one counsel or a team approach, they tailor their services to meet client needs at competitive Idaho rates. Their clients are local, national, as well as international. Holly Troxel is the exclusive member firm in Idaho for Lex Mundi, the world's largest network of independent law firms with in-depth experience in 100-plus countries worldwide, as well as SCG Legal, a global network of the profession's preeminent independent law firms located in 82 countries around the world. I'm actually repping their gear today, so thank you, Holly Troxel, for sponsoring our first Advocacy in Action. Now, let's get started. The idea of this broadcast is to be brief, to keep you informed on what the Chamber is doing on your behalf. So let's begin. This week, the Idaho legislature started the session. During the State of the State, Governor Little addressed the legislative body and gave an overview of what he'd like to accomplish budget-wise this year. But Governor always comes out with a budget proposal and then works with the legislature to see if they can achieve those goals. The governor is proudly worked hard to advance education needs in the state, and they are great. It's obviously the needs of business are completely dependent on an educated and ready workforce, and $300 million has been dedicated to increase the Educational General Fund. Now, that's the largest one-time investment for 1 year in state history. And this will go towards career ladder, literacy programs, which could include all-day kindergarten, if school districts are so inclined to use the funds that way, and contributing to teacher health care premiums, among other things. So really exciting new investments in education, something the Chamber definitely applauds. And with the record surplus that we're seeing and investments from the federal government through ARPA and infrastructure dollars, the state is able to do a lot of amazing things this year that they've wanted to do for a long time. The governor also has a record request for tax reform. The request in details, and we'll cover this with the first bill that came out this week that our policy committee endorsed, but it would consolidate tax brackets from 5 to 4 in the state, lower both personal and corporate income tax to 6%, which makes us more competitive with neighboring states on the corporate income tax side, and one-time tax rebates of $350 million to Idaho citizens this year. And what that translates to with that lower income tax bracket is $250 million of ongoing tax relief starting in the year 2023. So some big changes in lowering our income tax rates here in Idaho, both for the family and for our corporate entities. Also something the Chamber's been very supportive of for many years. Again, we want to be competitive with our neighboring states for economic development purposes, and just make sure that we have all the most competitive business environment we can here in Idaho. And finally, the governor also talked about, amongst many other things, but the big three are the record transportation investments. Now, last year, the governor and the legislature secured revenue for $1.6 billion in new bonds for new infrastructure in the state. But to go on this year, the governor would like to fully fund the state and local governments for transportation deferred maintenance in the tune of $200 million. So a great idea. We all know about the areas where we live that need to be addressed, and with 80 million of that going to local entities and 120 million of the 200 million going to the state, hopefully we can see some of the projects with the greatest need be addressed and receive the maintenance that they need. Also, $200 million to improve local bridges. That's enough money to improve 1/3 of the bridges that have about 50 years of wear and tear on them and just need to get fixed. And $225 million in ARPA funds to address broadband infrastructure needs. The term is called the digital divide, how internet companies have to receive a return on their investment, right? It's a corporation. The federal government is now asking us to invest in infrastructure, broadband infrastructure projects that make it so that companies can still offer a service in rural America, rural Idaho, and be able to receive a return on their investment. So this is something where the state is partnering with local businesses that provide those internet services to both businesses and to our households, so that we can work from home and do education from home, and as well as stream Netflix. Big deal, something that has been kind of an exciting part of this legislation. Now, like I said before, H.R. 436 is the vehicle that the income tax proposals of the governor is going to make possible. The sponsors are Representative Steve Harris, Mike Moyle, and Senators Jim Rice and Scott Grow. So again, I've talked about the details of what House Bill 436 will include, but feel free to do your own research. Just know that they can't. It's exciting, but the first bill that was read in the legislature this year addressed tax reform, and that it happened so speedily, and that our leaders were so ready to respond when they saw what the surpluses could do for the state. So the Chamber applauds their efforts. These tax reforms are a very exciting thing for our businesses, and we're excited to continue to advocate for your needs. So this concludes the first episode of Advocacy in Action. If you have any comments, concerns about policies that are coming out, just want to give me some feedback, jfield@boisechamber.org is my email. We're here to work for you. Excited to offer you this new service to let you know what we're doing to work on your behalf. And we'll all hope for a really good 2022 legislative session.